The United States Supreme Court has just taken a decisive step. Steve Bannon, once convicted, once imprisoned, and long at the center of political controversy, is now seeing his criminal case effectively disappear. So what exactly happened, and why does this go far beyond one individual? Steve Bannon is not just another political figure. He served as one of Donald Trump's most influential advisors inside the White House, a strategist deeply tied to the America First movement. But in 2021, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot demanded answers. They issued Bannon a subpoena, a legal requirement to provide documents and testify. Bannon refused entirely. No cooperation, no documents, no testimony. That decision carried serious consequences. In 2022, a federal jury found Bannon guilty on 2 counts of contempt of Congress. First, refusal to provide requested documents. Second, refusal to appear for testimony. He was convicted on both charges. Bannon challenged the ruling repeatedly, but each appeal failed. Then in July 2024, he reported to federal prison in Danbury, Connecticut, where he served 4 months. Even after completing his sentence, Bannon continued to fight the conviction. Bannon's defense centered on one key claim. He argued that he did not intentionally defy the subpoena. Instead, he said he was following legal advice, specifically to delay compliance while courts reviewed executive privilege claims raised by Donald Trump. According to Bannon, he believed his actions were legally justified. Prosecutors disagreed sharply. They described his actions as total noncompliance. The courts sided with the prosecution. A federal appeals court upheld the conviction, stating clearly that relying on an attorney's advice did not excuse his actions. When Bannon sought emergency relief from the Supreme Court to avoid prison, the request was denied. Without dissent, he served his sentence. So how does a case that has already been tried, decided, and completed end up back at the highest court in the country? Earlier this year, the situation changed dramatically. In February, the Department of Justice, now operating under President Trump, reversed course. The DOJ informed the Supreme Court that it no longer intended to pursue the case. It requested that the prior appeals court ruling be vacated and that the case be sent back for dismissal. Their justification was straightforward. The government determined that dismissing the case was in the interests of justice. Bannon's legal team agreed completely. Both sides, prosecution and defense, aligned on ending the case. This move comes amid a broader pattern, including pardons issued by President Trump to individuals connected to January 6th prosecutions. The Supreme Court then acted. The justices vacated the appeals court, ruling that had upheld Bannon's conviction. The case now returns to the trial court, where the charges will be formally dismissed. Bannon's attorney stated that the case should never have been filed in the first place. His legal team further argued that the prosecution was politically motivated and raised serious concerns about separation of powers. Here's the key point. Bannon has already served his sentence. This decision does not undo that time, but it does remove the legal conviction from his record. And more importantly, it raises broader institutional questions. If a new administration can reverse prosecutorial decisions made by a previous one, what does that mean for congressional authority? What happens to the power of subpoenas? What happens to enforcement of contempt? These are questions legal experts are now actively debating. At this critical moment, viewers should share their perspective to this. Does this strengthen justice or weaken congressional authority? Comment below with your thoughts. Bannon is not the only figure involved in such cases. Peter Navarro, another former Trump advisor, was also convicted of contempt of Congress and served prison time. However, Navarro did not receive similar relief from the Supreme Court. These differing outcomes highlight how evolving DOJ decisions and shifting political priorities continue to reshape the legal framework surrounding January 6th cases. The Supreme Court's action may have been brief, but its consequences are significant. A conviction has been vacated, a case is on track for dismissal, and a major debate about congressional power is far from settled. We will continue monitoring how the trial court finalizes this dismissal. Stay informed, stay aware, and if you value clear and in-depth reporting, make sure to like, share, and follow for more updates.